can we examine what separates us from life, from living life,
from living the life that we love,
from living the life? How can we do it when our very mind is indoctrinated? So, but as long as we can see that our mind is indoctrinated, as long as we can experience right now in the moment, right, our false self, that me, which kind of got developed out of this process, we ended up with the central to our world concept of me. And me is not something that really exists. It's just another concept. It's kind of like it's a very complex conceptual structure.
Me.
Yes, that consists of so many different concepts. But they are all got together and played together,
intertwined,
raising
that me,
that me, that feeling of my life, right? Or
that's
my situation of the moment, or my possessions, right? It feels like real.
My troubles.
Yeah,
my life.
Troubles, yeah, my achievements, my goals,
my lack of achievements,
my dreams,
my suffering for not achieving my goals,
my hurts. So everything is, and also just simply, so that me, the other way of thinking, of looking at it, not thinking about it, because thinking is,
but don't think.
we have to see that as long as the thinking is involved, right? What we are doing here is observing, and we observe. So there's another faculty. See, we are becoming aware of the other faculty of our mind, of a deeper layer of our mind.
We're being awakened to our self, inner self.
Yes.
Telescope, like we were talking in another program.
It's just like,
that's our observation tool, to look within.
It's
that
a
inner
natural
telescope.
It's our
ability. So you're saying that let's just kind of like do away with thought as much as we possibly humanly can, and let's turn the inner eye on. Let's turn that inner telescope on and observe rather than think. And that's the gateway. That telescope, you're saying, is the gateway to seeing.
So
to seeing.
For that to happen, we need to really first observe our mind as a conceptual structure, as indoctrinated self, indoctrinated architecture, mental architecture that actually separates our experience of being alive from the real world, right? There's experience of being alive right now. There's experience of being alive. There's a fullness of life, right? The fullness of life, just for a moment, let's get present to it. It's the fullness of life that a child experienced at the beginning, right? The fullness of life, the awe fairy tale. The child living in this mysterious world, remember yourself, how you were then. You know, that didn't go
The
anywhere.
authentic smile.
Yeah, they're just like, just being alive, just wanting to play, just enjoying anything and everything, right? Just sitting doing nothing and enjoying. Playing in the sand.
Dreaming about jumping in the pool.
Yeah, just like simple things. The simplest things make a child so happy, so excited. Ooh, my toy. So, right? So, and the eyes of the child, open eyes. It's like, where all of that now?
Where did
In
it go?
us, in you, in all of us.
Where did
right?
it go?
That's what I'm saying. We are examining what separates us from living lives that we love, right?
Living the life.
So that was life that we loved, right? And we were living that life.
That was the life.
We were living that life,
Yeah.
and then the distance, we started departing from that.
Yeah.
Right? And there's a distance occurred.
Departure.
Departure, more
Take
and
off.
more. So now, what? How? I mean, the more words of language, the more words we learned,
The
right?
words of God, yeah.
Which are representations of the experiences. Before was no word, just experience. So there was no problem. No problem. We experienced whatever we experienced, we experienced. But later,
so we started giving it words.
yeah.
Every
So
step of the way.
later we look at the flower, and the word flower now is between us.
You and the flower.
Yeah. So the word is covering the experience, right? So the
Now we
word-
read the menu. We don't
So-
taste the food, right?
So language, so our language covers the experiential reality from us, right? It has to be clear, it has to be noticed, right? Just noticing it is already huge insight into life. It's like a whale. So your language is not innocent. Language is so dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's why there's so
Knowing
much trouble
language-
based on.
Knowing language by
Yeah.
itself is much more dangerous than jumping with parachute.
Well, look at what Hitler did. It's
So-
his language that mesmerized people, right? That's a good
Yes.
example.
Yes, but
Or dictators.
language also mesmerized all of us.
And
That's how we gave up on experiential life.
So we, in essence, we're each one of us is a little Hitler in our own lives, because we're taken by that language
Yeah.
that kind of really
Yeah.
started poisoning us from early on. So
Yeah.
language is a great tool, but it's also, it seems like it just is the way we language life is the mother of all evil.
Yes, yes. You could say that, you can see it that way. But evolutionary speaking, the language developed for us to function better, to accomplish our tasks easier,
To survive.
to build started building when we got out of cave, to build our primitive
Structures of this sort
structures
and
when
that
we
sort, yeah.
and to create tools, right? To
yeah.
create tools so
Yeah.
we can go and cut meat and
Yeah,
do
whatever we
need
did
to
back
do,
then, and
right?
now we keep doing it.
Yeah,
We're building
yeah.
bridges
And
and
then we
hospitals.
went into
Yeah.
when we stopped collecting, hunting and gathering completely, and went into agriculture. There's more necessity for tools, and all of it, so all of it required
Verbalization.
abstract thinking, right? Abstract thinking, and kind of creating prognoses of what our action will result in. So we created at some point of our evolution, we created past and the future, right? And that was a great invention. And in that space of past, present, and future, language actually got developed and matured. Because our language, you know, created for us these abstract areas, you know, of the past and the future. We developed abstract thinking, right? We say, we can do this tomorrow. Tomorrow we will go and hunt that elephant, right? Well, tomorrow is a tremendously complex concept. But it's easy for us now. We have all these words. Tomorrow. Where's tomorrow? You know, tomorrow will never come, obviously. It's only now.
So the primitive humans think about tomorrow?
Well, that's probably the moment where our human beingness got born. Humankind showed up, right?
Planning for future.
when we developed enough distinctions in words to be able to speak of the past and the future. And both are needed for function. Past is needed and future is needed. We need to know where we came from yesterday and where we're going tomorrow, you know, and so on. So all this complex architecture, and so how all of it relates now to our quest. Now we are on the quest
to
live, to truly witness what separates us
from the life that we love.
Yeah. So essentially, we are thinking about, well, from the state where we came from as a children.
Which is exactly what that was.
Yeah,
we love our life.
Assuming we never lost that state, right? And now we see clearly we didn't. Because that state, what happened to us, we covered that state by the layers of words and concepts, right? By abstract representations. So we ended up living in the abstract world. Abstract world.
Oh my God! So we were in the real. So we kind of lived in the real world as children.
We lived in the real world, exactly.
And we started slowly meandering into
abstraction,
the abstract, unreal.
Yeah, matrix.
But we were born into the matrix, though.
We were born into the game. Into a game, well, I would say into the game of how life itself chose to manifest itself in this particular situation. In this, so I would say, okay, in a simple way, I would say that life itself, right? Life itself. Maybe it's a little bit premature to talk about it, but I will anyway. It's
in some sense. It's not.
It's because you asked about it.
Yeah.
We are born into certain condition, right? It's a condition, right?
Yeah.
We could have been born in the time of Roman Empire. That would be a different condition. We could have been born in the cave when people lived in the cave. We could have been born, last century or today, or we can be born in million years from now. all of it will be different
And
conditions.
essentially,
Yeah.
because time doesn't exist,
Yeah.
we are simultaneously in all time zone, in all time, in all.
It's a space-time. That's what Einstein developed, and now it goes even beyond that. Time and space doesn't even exist at all. Already proven by quantum mechanics. There's a new formulation. We will not go about it.
Not going to it right
so
now.
it's all, so now time and space only can be, the only real application for these terms would be as our psychological processes. There is no other at the level where quantum mechanics is and science is in general and many different manifestations right now, is that time and space are our psychological processes. So it's a structural elements or structural conditions for our mind to be what it is. So this is the way how mind relates to reality, right? To that very narrow connection which it still has with reality. Because we live in there, really, our mind is a space of a total abstraction, like we just talked. I mean, it's a conceptual space. The mind is a conceptual space. Get present to it. There is no experiences in the mind at all. It's just words. It's just words and the flow of thoughts. Compulsive thinking is going through your mind all day long, right? It's a compulsive thoughts. You are not in charge of it. Thoughts are coming and going. And
unending chatter.
on average, scientifically proven that every human being
Has
has around 70,000 thoughts a day.
Wow.
70,000 thoughts. 69,500 of them are absolutely useless.
We're in big trouble.
So, those are 69,500 or more thoughts. They're not necessary for functioning. Not only that, but they're counterproductive.
They're destructive.
They're destructive.
Illness causing.
They're
anxiety depression causing.
They are so-called negative thoughts. Negative in the way that thinking those thoughts compulsively creates emotional charge.
In essence.
Emotional charge, feeling of inadequacy, feeling of shame and guilt. You know what I'm saying? And
In
all
essence.
the hurt and all the fears and insecurities and regrets and worries about future and all of it. So all of it is generated, all that emotional charge is generated by all the 65,500 thoughts that we experience during the day, right? And that flow of thoughts is a #1 obstacle on the way between us and experience of life that we love. That flow of thoughts, that negative emotions that are generated from those thoughts are now the biggest block. Like a Chinese wall surrenders the experience of being alive, which is still here, right? It's not, didn't go anywhere.